Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. As you might or might not imagine, we're going to go ahead and finish off the Howling Fjord. This actually won't take long. We only have one hub left. But before we do, obviously we're going to try out balance for a little bit. I spent a little bit of time off camera setting up our build and codifying a few things. This looks like it'll be fun. But I just realized I haven't updated the HUD in a while. And that's my fault, and I apologize for that. I wanted to codify a few things about it. So the actual place the HUD's at right now is here. So, now that that is up to date, let's go ahead and get on with it, shall we?
What brings you here?
My people have been hunting the giant yeti of these hills for generations, and I will be participating for the first time this year. It'll probably be the last before we leave the post forever. To prepare for the hunt, I must fashion a loud horn from the horns of the dire rams. The elders tell me the sound mimics the mating call of the female yeti, but I have my doubts. Bring me the best dire ram horn you can. I'll select one from amongst them.
May the eternal sun shine.
Greetings, traveler.
If you are to survive here as we have, you must learn to face environment's challenges head-on. The elements will claim your life if you are not vigilant, as the proliferation of elements in these northern hills shows. We must call the elementals one last time before we leave this place. Are you willing to aid us while we continue making preparations?
Ancestors. I've been expecting you.
The down of the spotted hippogriff is prized by my people and used for everything from fletching to ceremonial clothing. We're making preparations to leave the post, so this is the last chance I'll be able to gather it this season. With your help, I'll have enough to make sure everyone has the equipment they need for the long trek into the hills. Conditions worsen very quickly up there, and a storm can blow in without warning. Oh, I can do that.
Walk with the earth, mother.
I mean, whatever you want to, Arspruce, you know, I'm ambivalent. You can call them whatever. So, balance nowadays, it's a little different than it usually has been. Balance has gone through a lot of changes over the years, actually. Back in the day, there was this thing where they'd encourage you to constantly flip back and forth between Wrath and Lunar. Basically doing nature damage versus doing arcane damage. And as you can see, that balance thing is still there, but the way it used to work is, to put it very simply, the way black mages work at level 50 over an FF14. As you might imagine, that was actually not particularly fun. In fact, it kind of sucked, which is one of the reasons they moved away from that. Nowadays, it's actually a lot more interesting, in my opinion, because the way it works now is you do 2 of any given spell in a row, and that gives you a buff to buff the other side. And that buff lasts about 15 seconds. So, you're still kind of doing the back and forth, but it's a lot more fluid than just the way it used to be, for lack of a better way to put it. It's also more lenient on screwing up a particular rotation. Hi, Yura. Now, I have my particular guy set up in a way that is encouraged... Oh, Jesus. That is designed around a whole lot of synergies and buffs. Also true if I've... But there's a whole bunch of other ways you can build balance right now. It's actually pretty cool. I'm really impressed with the talent tree. I spent a good 20 minutes just staring at it and going over it with a fine-tooth comb during the lunch break. There's some really good stuff over here. Oh, speaking of which, I'm going to go and take Denizens of the Dream. Hell yes. I also need to show off the moon. You might think, what's the moon? Well, you can throw a moon at people. That's not very impressive. Let me go ahead and use a bigger moon. That didn't really do much. Let's do a bigger moon. There we go. That's much better. I love the moon ability. So the way the moon ability works, it has 3 charges. Let's just start with that. And the way it cycles is it goes from new moon to half moon to full moon. Full moon is exactly what it sounds like. This is full moon. It is a very big hit. As you can see, almost killed that thing in one shot. And it also benefits from several other talents and abilities, because of course it does. It is also AoE, and I also happen to have the ability that makes it so I get 2 full moons in a row. So it rotates, right? So it goes new moon, half moon, full moon, new moon, half moon, full moon. Make sense? But since I have a talent that improves it even more, I actually have, it's more new, half, full, full, new, half, full, full. And because it's on a charge system, and because it retains that, you can kind of prep, especially if you know what you're doing, which really is great on certain fights. Because in some fights, you can really be like, okay, I know I need to save some burst for a minute from now. And I tend to like mechanics that give control of the player the kind of burst they do. And it's a unique way to do it outside of just giving yourself cooldowns. It's worth noting you can also just straight up use cooldowns. There is definitely a cooldown spec for balance right now. I liked Feral quite a bit, actually, but balance is in a really good place right now. Like, I'm happy with this already, and I've only been playing it for like 30 minutes or whatever. I should also mention, so balance also has a secondary resource bar. That's what you use to cast either a really big single target or a really big AoE. You also have procs that can make those free, which I have currently, obviously. Oh. Owlbears also get this other little ability, which is only really useful while soloing, but it's a nice little solo bit of help. Because if you are hit, you have a 15% chance to just get a free big hit. Like yep, you took damage. Here you go. I've also got a live button, which is my ints. They actually taunt the moment they're summoned. They can pull stuff off of me immediately. And I'm going to go ahead and prep my moons while I'm at it. So right now I'm at half moon, so I'm going to go ahead and use a half moon to get myself ready for a full moon. I also have 3 dots. I can have 4. Technically, I actually have 5 right now, and I could have 6. Druid also, there's a balance, also arguably has one of the best viscerally enjoyable AoEs in the entire game, which I can't show off properly because it'll probably get me killed. It's called Starfall. And if you played Warcraft 3, you know what Starfall is. I'm trying to think where a place nearby is where there's a whole bunch of enemies I can use Starfall and then die. Because I'm going to die. I'm going to die from using it. Oh, that's true. They fixed it so it doesn't target stuff you're out of combat with. So I need to be in combat with a bunch of things at once. Alright, let's just do 3 things. I might be able to survive 3 things. Come on. Maybe 4. Maybe 4. Alright, let's do it. Starfall. Pop a new moon on their faces, too. And another Starfall. And another Starfall. Why not? Just keep it coming. Keep it coming. Holy crap, we actually lived. Barely. We're a little low. Yeah, Boomkin's in a good place. I've noticed a lot of the casters are really good right now. Even Shadow Priest, which historically has been kind of weak and not really all that fun. Once you get to the top tier talents, really starts to come into its own. Oh, and don't worry, Blade Jamal, we're gonna leave this zone and its terrible, terrible music soon. Also, that live button has only a minute cooldown. So I could use that regularly while I'm questing. It tends to vary, Ganas. I've been having a lot of fun with it in this exact patch, so Shadow Priest and Balance Druid so far. But again, I think it's partially because they've really boosted them. Back in the day, leveling a caster was arduous. In fact, back in vanilla, well, I don't know about you guys, but I couldn't level a caster at all solo. It was straight impossible. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't kill things before they reached me. And once they reached me, I would fall over, right? And of course, you could run out of mana so much easier, and that would lead to wanding, which is really boring, and blah, 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 blah. It wasn't like leveling a tank, which we were just fine. I should mention, for the sake of perspective, I did actually level a mage in vanilla. I also leveled a mage and a priest in BC. Either way, they're in a better place than they used to be. That's my overall point. From the perspective of the review, which is now, casters so far are in a pretty good place. Warlocks, druids, priests, and mages are the ones I can actually speak to. Not sure about shamans yet, and haven't done anything with evokers. So I'm not sure about those. Yeah, any pet class tends to be pretty good when it comes to leveling. That's always been true. Could you not be right on my face so I don't accidentally AoE you? Thank you. Stupid ram. A friend of mine has been leveling Fire Mage in both Dragonflight and War Within, and they've been having a really good time with it. It does have a couple of caveats. Fire Mage is very much kill it before you die, but the output of Fire Mage is crazy, and it's mostly AoE too, like innate AoE. So you can absolutely kill before you die. It's just a bit of a race. Yeah, the way Ignite spreads is just... whoa. I don't know which Selk you're referring to, Spartan. Yeah, Ignite spreads now. Let's see, I think we'll be playing a mage and warlord, so that should be fun. I just... yeah, no, okay. It's getting bad luck. That's all that is. I admit, I kind of fell in love with Arcane Mage. But Arcane Mage is kind of rough. It feels like the harder of the three specs right now. I don't mean that as an elitist thing. I just mean in terms of playstyle, right? You really... You got to be focusing in order to play Arcane well. But if you do, the output is crazy. Arcane... So Fire Mage is all about managing your output in terms of targeting and spreading. Frost is all about ensuring that you keep control of your cooldowns and your procs, and making sure to use what, where, and when appropriately. Arcane is weird, because Arcane is all about managing your mana. But whatever you're picturing in your head when I say that isn't quite what I mean. Obviously, Arcane can burn through its mana, in seconds, actually. But no. Arcane does different things depending on how much your mana is at, like what percent your mana is at. And one of those things it does is a lot more damage when your mana is full. You also have multiple abilities to bring your mana back very, very quickly. So, you really do have to manage your mana. You have to make sure you're going bingo on mana when you want to, pulling it all the way back up when you want to, and then burning it all the way back down when you want to. And that cycle is very fun, but it is mean. Yeah, it's not what I would suggest. If you want to play, if you're first starting a mage, play Frost. Frost is very, very viable. It's very, very fun. Like I said, it's heavy on procs and build-up. Like the Glacial Spike ability is a great example of a build-up payoff kind of a thing.
Peace.
Anyways, balance is legit. I'm really liking balance. I especially like how... So I kind of talked about this briefly. You notice I have a bit of a weird path, but I also took every single talent in this row because this row was just so good. And of course I wanted a beeline for New Moon, because of course I wanted my Moon abilities. But I could have done a few other things. For example, Celestial Alignment, which is a big old 3-minute cooldown of burst. And I could have also taken either Convoke the Spirits or Incarnation, both of which are 2 or 3-minute bursts. There's also the Mushroom. This is a fun one, right? So you either get the Mushroom itself, which is just, it's a 30-second cooldown, and it's got 3 charges, and you just make an area explode. It also does a dot, it does a slow, and it generates Astral Power. Astral Power is your secondary resource, which you spend on either your single target or your AoE. But there's also a passive version of the same thing. They have a chance to grow on a given target when you do damage from Sunfare, which is one of your dots. So you can just have mushrooms proc periodically wherever you're shooting them. And it otherwise does more or less the same general concept. And yeah, so for those, I should talk about Convoke the Spirits. So Convoke the Spirits is when you take a drink. So, in 4 seconds, you cast 16 spells. Now, which spells you cast depend on your spec. In our case, Boomkin. We will be casting Star Surge, Starfall, Moonfire, Wrath, Regrowth, Rejuvenation, Rake, and Thrash. It will prioritize whatever your current form is. So if I'm in Boomkin form, it'll prioritize most of the caster nukes. But also, there's a thing to make it do even more. Cooldown reduced by 50%, duration and number of spells increased by 20%, and of course, increased chance to use an exceptional spell or ability. So Convoke is probably the ultimate burst. I'm not even sure there is something that is burstier than Convoke. Because it's exactly what it says. It's 20 spells in 4 seconds, if you've got it fully talented. Think about that. Just it's the machine gun. It's the machine gun. You lie, Yura. Why would you lie to me? Alright, it's time to take Yura down. Anyways. Convoke is fun, but I don't know. I like everything else I've got. I like the moon. The moon.
What brings you?
Yeah, it's the Hyper Beam moment in a spell. Exactly.
We shall.
With your contribution, we'll be prepared for the journey. I haven't given you much for your help, but I will give you a choice of some of my spare combat gear. This is your spare gear? Jesus, dude.
Go in peace.
Oh, God. Seriously, I'm dropping a moon on my enemy. What do you want from me?
Peace.
The influence of the elemental spirits has receded, but it will return. We've bought ourselves the time we need to complete our tasks and leave.
Ah, I've been expecting you.
Have you brought any suitable horns?
Winds be at your back.
These are all fine horns. Let me examine them and select the one I will use in the hunt. I'll give it to the craftsman for their carvings.
Walk with the Earth Mother.
The horn has been roughed out, but before I make traditional carvings, I want to make certain it'll work. He tells me he tests its horn at the foot of the waterfalls. Ahota tells me our hunters have always used the acoustics of the frozen water in this way for generations. Will you help me test out the horn?
May the eternal sun shine
Sure.
upon thee.
Blow this horn here. What the? Are you the one who interrupted my dinner? Well, are you? You're too ugly and scrawny to be a female. Now you're making me mad. Oh, jeez. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll kill you horribly. I mean, I guess that doesn't make it sound like I'm very sorry. I'm going to drop a moon on your face, okay? No? I'm going to drop a second moon on your face.
You wish to speak? Walk with the
Wait.
Earth Mother.
I'm relieved to hear the horn worked so well, but maybe too well of what you're saying. You sure the beast spoke? I don't know if I could go on with the hunt if that's true. I'll have to speak with the chief about it. The horn may end up being merely decorative, but that won't diminish its worth. Thank you for all your help. You're welcome. Please don't go kill Go off killing sentient people, would you?
Over you.
Thanks. Yeah, Elune is basically just another Eternal at this point. Which is fine, I guess, but yeah. I roll my eyes at the Eternals.
How may I aid
For
you?
generations, people have told tales of frozen nymphs cavorting in glades hidden away in the wilderness. I used to search for them as a child, against the advice of my parents, until I nearly froze to death. These days, it isn't necessary to comb the forests. They've decided to reveal themselves for reasons I can only guess. But I don't think the change can be ignored. Adventure southeast to the glade and seek out the nymphs, but beware, you will pass the twisted glade on your way.
Winds be at your back.
Oh, okay. I guess I can do that. Sorry, double checking my notes for something really quick.
What brings you here? Goodbye. How?
The Vrykul fortress Scourge sits to the south. Its strange giants have recently awakened and begun to spread, attacking us wherever they can. My scouts inform me that they are poised to strike as it is here, but I do not have the strength to repel such a force. Instead, we will prepare to leave north to less dangerous land. I ask you use your cunning to buy us time.
We shall meet again. Greetings, traveler. We shall meet.
Hail. I love this. This quest... Okay, I'm going to read this out loud. Even the earth cannot hold back the tide of death watching over it. Corpses walk the land, spreading their putrefaction with alarming speed. A small expedition made its way to the western cliffs and rests near Whisper Gulch. Take a look for yourself, see if you can find their purpose, and dissuade them from bringing their poisons to our land. Yes, let's go talk to the Forsaken and be like, hey, could you stop blighting this place? Please. Just please.
Speak quickly.
Ah, yes, the reclusive bison men of the north. I have seen them skulking about, believing themselves unseen. I suppose they fancy this land theirs. Well, that's one of many things that'll change shortly. I wasn't expecting company, but while you're here, you might as well make yourself useful.
Trust no one.
Yeah, no.
Farewell.
We're not actually doing those quests, because we're going to do those on the Alliance. Still, it is an amusing chain. No, I like that too as Maristar. Speaking of. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Overshot the quest. What do I get for all tabbing? Hi.
Hi.
It's good to meet you, Druid. My sisters have often watched the Tonka search the forest for us, but we are forbidden by our queen from interacting with outsiders. You only see us now because the land has become unsettled, and many of my sisters are in danger.
What is nature's call?
The ice elementals surrounding our glade were once our companions, but a volatile and destructive force has swept through the land, turning them against us. This is but one of many horrors my sisters and I have endured. We've revealed ourselves to you and hope that you'll help us stave off the decay that spread to our glade and poisoned our sisters. Yeah, she's literally the lady of the lake. Frozen lake, but stop throwing snowballs at me. We've been gathering cores of ice elementals and keeping them safe so one day we may restore them. Will you help? Sure. Oh my god, what's this? An Alliance player? And I can actually help them kill things? And get credit for it? What is this, world of peacecraft? Ugh, I spit upon it. Too eager. Hello, Litafairy. Hi, welcome to the stream. You've caught us at a more or less simple time. We're just going through doing some quests. You know how it is. We're almost done with the Howling Fjord. Then I'm going to move north to the Grizzly Hills. But as I am fond of saying, if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, hatreds, blind rages, just let me know. It's okay, I hear it every day. Let's go ahead and buy ourselves some time and start getting some moons going. Hang on, I gotta wind up my moon. Okay, here we go. Oh man, Storm Peaks. I'm looking forward to that. It's okay. We're past the bad zones. I know that you don't like the Howling Fjord music, and I do apologize, but we're almost done with it, I swear. And we're already done with Borean, Dragonblight, and Sholazar, so that's pretty much all the bad zones in Northrend. Grizzly will be pretty short, all things considered. We might actually finish that today. It'd be nice to hit Draktheron today. Also, Hypo just now. The Lich Queen of Angmar. Now, let's see how much we can handle here. Let's see if we can really get ourselves killed. Group up, group up. Start popping some AoEs. Oh god, they died before I could finish my cast. That's actually funny. And turbo dead. Yeah, no, the new Death Knight Tier 2. All the new Tier 2s look really good, I think. One of the few things they did right with the anniversary event.
Ah, the great outdoors.
Ah, thank you. I promise, my friends, I will do all I can to restore you.
Is there trouble? What is nature's call?
To the southwest was a glade that used to look much like this one. Mysterious forces and alien magics are reshaping the land. The glade has thawed. My sisters living there were driven mad by the sudden change. We thought to reach out to them, but they attacked us. I fear many may be beyond saving, but I cannot give up hope. Here, take my pendant. Travel southwest of the glade. Use it to try and free my sisters.
Is there trouble? Ah, the great outdoors.
The sisters who lived in the vibrant glade to the southwest used to tend to the gorgeous beds of scarlet ivy, but the same force that's driven them mad has transformed their beloved ivy. The vines now grasp at the feet of the unwary, or lash at any who approach the glade. Before we can reclaim the glade, the vines must be tamed and uprooted. I can deal with that. Yeah, no kidding, we'll just know. I've long since finished mine, but I had an 80 ready to go. It doesn't matter. Be free. Be free. Oh god. Ivy. Oh god. I mean, if nothing else, we'll probably get a recolor in the trading post. They like to do that a lot. Yeah. Blizzard, the seasonal... world of seasonal craft? I don't know. I'm not clever right now. I have no brain. All I have is a headache. No headache, only brain. My bank is still calling me. Look, I'm not going to get it alone. If it's something urgent, you can leave a freaking voice message, okay? I actually don't know, Rain 36. I thought it was just when you got another suit, but I could be wrong. And yes, WoW was the ultimate case of I love you despite yourself. Damn you, wow. Okay, is that... Nope, I still need to complete these things. It's okay. One of these days we'll get past the old stuff, Lord Haramount. One of these days. What in God's name? So now they're emailing me, hey, effectively managing the financial wellness opens the doors to success, however you define the journey. God, I am never going to pick up any of this crap, I'm just saying. Please get a loan from us, please. We want you to be even further in debt. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say even further. I'm not in debt at all. But like, ugh. Probably Masker Man. That's why I'm looking forward to it getting better. And that's the thing. A lot of people are like, when's the moment it gets better? The truth is, it's not that linear. Or perhaps more accurately, it is exactly that linear. Every expansion, with 2 exceptions, will do better than the previous ones. And that's pretty much exactly what I'm counting on. I mean, Wrath is already better than BC. Right. Good games with insufficient budgets. Hang on, let me read these really quick.
Hi. Is there trouble?
Is there hope for my sisters? I feel guilty for not thinking of the pendants sooner. We might have saved even more of them.
Ah, the great outdoors.
Thank you for your help.
What is nature's...
The glade to the northwest, now the Twisted Glade, used to be home to a number of keepers. Together with the sisters, they saw to the glade's upkeep, but when the glade changed, the sisters died, but somehow the keepers managed to survive. Now they seed the land with poisonous spores that wither healthy greenery. I give you one of the cores from the ice elementals. Once you've destroyed a spore, use the ice crystal to freeze it. Prevent it from regenerating.
Hi. What is nature's call?
The glade to the west has been transformed into a hideous place called the Twisted Glade. Horrible beasts dwell amongst the trees, stones, and pool. I cannot guess where the creatures came from or the horrible forces that animate them, but they must be dealt with. I fear that if they are allowed to dominate the glade, they will poison it beyond redemption. Yeah, I got that. No, the harsh reality is that thanks to the problem, the dungeon problem, there's a non-zero chance that it might take a long time to finally reach an expansion that is actually a net positive on gameplay. Like longer than I was thinking, you know. I honestly figured Wrath would be the first one that would be net positive on gameplay. Anyways, okay, so good games that had insufficient budgets. Now I'm gonna skip indie stuff because there's a lot of indie stuff there, right? And those are just kind of gimmies. I was actually going to say a lot of stuff by Obsidian. Those people have definitely been mismanaged for years. It is entirely possible that FF14 will score better than WoW, yes. In general, but also on the gameplay axis. I still recommend that, Valvatrix. Unless you're truly committed to seeing all the content, I recommend most new players just start with Kata. Nowadays, apparently I have to adjust that to just recommending you start with Dragonflight. At least until they fix all this crap. If they ever fix all this crap. Mega Man 2. Ledger Ball. You want to know what Mega Man 2's budget was? Anybody who knows the answer to that, don't answer. Mega Man 2's budget was 0. It was put together by the dev team pretty much during and after the development of Mega Man 1 on their spare time. And it was literally just, you know, Mega Man was alright, but, like, it wasn't. It was crap. We need to fix it. We can do better. And a huge number of people on the team all agreed, yeah, no, we can do better than that. And so they just sat down and actually did Mega Man 2. Now, that's not exactly the greatest game of all time ever, 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 but, like, it is impressive how good Mega Man 2 is considering. And yeah, unfortunately, Yura mentioned this in Discord the other day. It is exceptionally possible that the cavalcade of negatives that every expansion other than Dragonflight and War Within will get will never go away. They will just sit there forever. And that is how that is. It is funny to me, not that anybody would ever care about my review, of course, but those negatives would be incredibly easy to remove. And as we've talked about many times, all of the pieces already exist for them to remove them. But let's see, something more modern. Low-budget game that's still good. No, exactly. It's just Blizzard being lazy. Like, I hate to reiterate this point, but not everyone's heard me say this. In FF14, there's a problem with older content. It boils down to how they present it and the fact that they get rid of your abilities going back to it. And I know some people defend it, and I even understand their defense of that, but it kind of doesn't matter because it still sucks. FF14 is still a game that actively encourages you to do older content on a daily basis and rewards you substantially for doing that. So the game very much wants you to go do older content. And it punishes you severely for doing so. And while this is true for every class, the example I always like to cart out is Black Mage. You know what Black Mage is like at 50. But, sorry, I'm getting off topic. The reason I brought that up wasn't to bash FF14. The reason was because, and I have talked this out and discussed this and looked at this many times. Near as I can tell, FF14 can't fix that problem. Like, they don't have the ability to. There's just too many spaghetti code. Too much spaghetti code. And even in the very nature of how they acknowledge abilities, right? Like, the very way that abilities work is what I mean. Like, in WoW, abilities don't really have much of a default power to them. The power of abilities is entirely tied to your item level. Or that is to say, to your stats. In other words, it is relatively easy to take a WoW player and tune them down substantially and still have that work. By contrast, in FF14 you can't do that, because if you kept all their abilities, those abilities just scale differently. Because the way they calculate... oh god, what's the name? Prowess or something like that? Potency, maybe? I can't remember what they call it. But either way, FF14 is... It is potency, thank you. Either way, FF14 is just structured in a way that you kind of can't do that without a tremendous amount of work. Like Lord Harriman says, another error or miracle or another cataclysm. So it's obvious why they don't do that and why we all just kind of live with that. But WoW doesn't have that problem. I actually saw someone say that, oh, it doesn't matter if you scale someone down, because it's still going to have, you know, higher level talents and abilities. Except those higher level talents and abilities specifically rely on your stats. The tuning exists. The tech exists to tune you down. All you have to do is adjust the tuning itself, right? It's going to take some work. It's going to take some sitting down and some finagling, but you can do it. Anyway, sorry. I'm getting way off topic. The point is, they have all the tools and pieces to get rid of the literal hundreds of negatives. Oh, by the way, with the new system, with the new adjustment, BC is now negative 296.22. That puts it on the level of Quest 64. Saying it's fine, I realize that I've been getting a little bit too deleterious about that. So, it was better a month ago. I've actually part and parceled out the negatives we're giving to this overall problem into 3 major categories. Well, 4. There's the access to the difficulties. There's the access to the raids. There's the fact that the dungeons themselves are abandoned content. And then there's the fact that they got rid of, that they screwed up the scaling, right? In other words, if they undid the scaling problem that we've been talking about this whole time, that they screwed up about a month ago, that would get rid of multiple negatives, but not all of them. Just the ones specifically for how they screwed up the scaling. Either way, I wasn't worried about experiencing these dungeons a year ago. Because I did all these dungeons a year ago with a friend of mine, and it was fine.
Is there trouble?
Shrug.
Ah, the great outdoors.
The Ice-Core worked well. I'll have to remember that. I'm certain the Keepers will not stop just because we destroyed the work once.
Is there trouble?
You've done well. If we had allies like you when the land first began to change, maybe we might have been able to preserve some of what we lost.
Hi.
You've been a great friend and ally. There's one more thing I must ask you. You've seen the corruption of the Twisted Glades and the Beasts. The black-souled Keepers that continue raising these abominations will act unless we act against them. The most powerful of them is Keeper Witherleaf. Okay, I will go murder a Keeper. No, not those Keepers. Those are different Keepers. Alright, where is he? Listen, I need you to waste my time, Ross, immediately. Because if you don't, I swear. And no, I do, Ross. I get it. There is very little I enjoy less in life than having my time wasted, I will admit. But there is still an onerous amount of additional content to go through. But for good and for bad. At this point, I am very curious if we will ever have an expansion where the positives will outweigh the negatives. Gameplay-wise. Before Dragonflight. Sorry, I should clarify that. Dragonflight doesn't get a whole lot of those negatives, because Dragonflight hasn't abandoned its dungeons.
Ah, the great outdoors.
Funny how that works out. Okay, let's go knock over this place. Yet. I mean, at this point, all bets are off. I have been wrong too many times this year to really make any predictions. So I'm not even going to jokingly make predictions. I'm just going to, yep, we'll see when we get there. That's a lot of Vrykul. What was I working towards? I could try to get Convoke the Spirits. Let's go ahead and see if we can reach that. I think we can.
Well met.
I mean, I've already had a comment on YouTube saying, why are you complaining? Just go play Classic. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of the mindset is there. It'll be interesting to learn about your people when we fight alongside you. Shall we proceed?
Ancestors watch over you. Goodbye.
Our elders say the Vrykul may be able to rise from the dead, not unlike the walking dead you call the Scourge, but a different kind of undeath. We should not take any chances. Here, take my machete. As we move through this place, carve up the remains of the Vrykul we slay. I spent the morning sharpening it, so it should be thick enough to cleave through their bone.
Go in.
Sharp enough to cleave through their thick bones.
Farewell.
Chief Ash Totem ordered me to destroy many buildings here. However, you are in charge, so it falls to your hands. I suggest we burn down the longhouses.
Be careful. Ancestors watch.
As we move through Scorn, we must destroy the towers. If you have a look at them, you'll notice the tops are lined with casters. Getting too close would mean certain doom. However, we can call in a Wind Rider airstrike. To do so, get close enough to lava smoke flare. Just don't get too close.
Be careful.
What really... I feel like I'm circling... I'm gonna shut up about this. Because I don't have anything new to add to this whole discussion. I'm just repeating myself to people who didn't hear me last time I said it. So I'm going to shut up. Did you know that I am going to shut up? Why would you spit on me? That's kind of gross, actually. No more discussing dungeons. Ever. Are you gonna... There we go. I will admit I like the Fjord music, but it can start to hurt my ears after a while. So I'm looking forward to moving on to the next zone. Even though, ironically, the next zone also hurts my ears after a while. The good news is Grizzly Hills is one of the shortest zones in the game. We shouldn't be there super long. Fine. Making me kill things.
Die, maggot!
Come on, let's go. Not like the first version. It's kind fire. It's like a fire that's gentle as it's burning you. That is true. That is how that usually works, Blateville. We need to talk about WoW. Wait. We need to talk about WoW. We need to talk about Star Wars, Star Trek, and whatever games are coming up in the queue. Oh gosh, I don't know. Most relaxing music? Honestly, there's several vanilla zones that kind of work for me. But I'd have to think about that. I don't know. I don't have a prepared answer. That's a good point. Let's not derail the stream with WoW talk. That's valid. I'm sorry, Yura. There's a huge scroll made from dragon skin. Unfurling its more than 10-foot length, you can see images painted upon its scaly surface depicting a mysterious Vrykul ritual. A Vrykul thane surrounded by angelic-looking beings ascend into the heavens with a mysterious darkened figure looming in the background. A tingling in your gut tells you the Thane of Scorn is about to do this. Well, let's see if we can stop that. Do it, Ross. Do it. Ask will be destroyed. Oh, Medic is really bothering me lately. Yeah, you know, Ashen Vale, any of the Night Elven zones is probably my answer, honestly. Teldrassil or Ashen Vale being the big ones. You tiny creatures disgust me. Flesh is not stronger. Sorry. Bad memories. I'm going to be honest, the 4th zone in the new expansion is probably my favorite for music, even just from a relaxing perspective. They really did some good stuff with that. My God. I heard about that, Pompanix. I'm also quite a fan of Elwyn. Hang on. Do I have it here? I might not. No, that's not it. Hang on. Here we go. A lot of WoW vanilla music is a little bit more atmospheric, but man, it's nice to just listen to it periodically. Oops. Really? Pillars of Snow? Now that's odd. I think it's a combination of two major things. So Ross asks, why did Star Wars kick off in a way that Star Trek never really managed? And that is actually a fairly good question. So first of all, Star Wars, that is to say, A New Hope, when it came out, was a phenomenon. Most people nowadays can't even understand what that was like. And I don't mean that as like, oh, and mod anything. No, I mean that as a demonstrable. We haven't had something like that in decades, you know. Wars just took off and absolutely swept the nation, and frankly the world, in a way that very few things had. And that just kind of created a whole lot of cultural inertia. It's not like Star Trek didn't exactly have cultural inertia. Indeed, Star Trek has had a lot of impact on a lot of things over a lot of years, including the gaming industry of all things. But wars just exploded. Let's go ahead and pull this out. We could go into the whys and the wherefores, but I think that right there is the biggest reason. There is actually a secondary reason, though, and it's a dumb one, but it's still true. We have only, as recently as within the last 10 years or so, gotten to the point where we can accept that a television show can have as high or higher quality than a movie. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Sorry. I guess that's appropriate for what's happening to this poor guy. So we killed him, and the Vrykul lift his spirit up into this pyre and say, "We find you unworthy of ascension. Let your soul know oblivion." And now he's I think they call him a Dark. Hey, Darkrai. The HUD is up to date. Hang on. Where's the Elwyn for? Oh, here we go. No, that's not it. There it is. Possibly Ross, but then again, frankly, the motion picture just didn't hit the same way A New Hope did. Even if a motion picture had come out instead of, like if we swapped them historically, I don't think the motion picture would have hit the same way A New Hope did. Because, and Rain36 pointed this out, A New Hope was a lot more relatable, for lack of a better way to put it. Ironically, it had much more broad appeal than most Star Trek things do. Why do you think Star Trek 4 is the most popular Star Trek film to this very day? Anyways. Well, I still need to kill people. But yeah, sorry, let me, if I can finish my thought there, forgive me. Television can, and frankly, in my opinion, has surpassed films. But there's a lot of mentality for a long time that films were just better, higher tier, right, than TV. And Lord knows certain things didn't help that. Have you ever heard of the phrase direct to VHS movie? What people mean when they say that is worse movie. They mean it as if it's a lower quality movie. And that's because it usually is. Because that was the cheaper thing that they threw out in order to cash in on a franchise. Thanks for that, Disney. Now, how like I said, I think it's much more recently with things like The Sopranos, or I would say like the early Walking Dead stuff, Game of Thrones, and Breaking Bad, when people started actually processing that, you know, TV shows could be... Oh, and The Wire. I knew there was actually another one I was fitting. TV shows that, frankly, surpass movies in overall quality and enjoyability. But we're still getting used to that idea even now, and there's still some people who think movie just means higher. But anyways, sorry. The point is, that's the attitude now, 40 years later. Imagine late 70s, right? Imagine television in the late 70s. Even though Star Trek predates Star Wars by a little over a decade, it just sat in that dip of, well, I mean, that's just a TV show, right? It's one of the reasons why several people regarding Star Trek wanted so hard to make a Star Trek film. Why they called it Star Trek the Motion Picture, rather than anything else they could have called it. Where's the... Nope, this it. There we go.
Greetings.
Yeah, the cartoon thing, exactly. It's the animated problem, just in a different perspective. And in many ways, it's the video game problem, too. I mean, video games can't be serious entertainment. Video games are for kids, right? Now, that attitude is on its way out. But it's been there for a long frickin' time.
Go in peace.
Have you done this before? Your skill with the machete seems practiced. He looks at you warily. I'll take it back from you now, Druid. Look, I'm not going to kill you. I'm not... Just hold still. Hold really, really still. Oh my god, how long is this scare cord? It's still going. It's still going. There it goes. Holy crap. Jesus. Wow. Okay, okay. We're walking, we're walking.
Goodbye. Farewell.
Let these Vrykul feel the heat of the land. Let them know the fear they would instill in others.
Ancestors watch over you. Go in peace.
You have a strong arm. It looks as though those Wind Riders finally made themselves useful instead of standing around drinking all day.
Goodbye. Be careful.
You've done everything we have sent you to do. I must admit you fight well. Your people is not as strange as I first thought. Thanks.
Farewell.
Thank. Do I think the existence of Trek helped inspire Star Wars? 100% yes. No question. Trek has inspired so many things that, frankly, I think we're still, to this day, starting to process how much Trek helped inspire. You gotta understand, as much as Trek is not as big as Star Wars, Trek is arguably more influential. If I can use just one example of that. Right now we're playing World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft's primary inspiration came from a game called EverQuest. EverQuest was dominantly inspired by a lot of the PC RPGs of the early 90s and the 80s, which include Wizardry, Might and Magic, and Ultima. All three of those games were inspired by Star Trek, the original series. This is not a joke. This is actually something that I myself only became aware of somewhat more recently as I was doing a history of RPGs kind of a thing. Now, you could argue that about a lot of things going down the chain. But yeah, exactly. A lot of fantasy stuff boils back to Lord of the Rings, and a whole lot of other things boil back to Star Trek. It was crazy influential. Some people don't even understand how much they were influenced by Star Trek because they're too far down the chain, you know?
Ah, I've been expecting you.
Yeah, Dune. That's another really big one, if you go further back up the chain.
Walk with the Earth Mother.
That is ominous looking, and you obviously had the right of it. Thank you for bringing this scroll to me. I will study its implications. If I were to hazard a guess, I would say these Vrykul have a way to transcend death, at least those that are worthy. By defeating the Winter-scorned Thane, you have proved him unworthy. Who knows what he might have become, and what terror he might have rained down about us had you not slain him.
May the eternal sun...
Actually, yeah, Ross. Metroid 1 is an incredibly influential game. And, yeah, we're still arguably feeling the effects of that one, like, 30 years later.
How? Go in.
Good news! You have given us some breathing room. Please, take one of these as a sign of our appreciation. Oh, thank you.
We shall meet again.
Whoops. My long runners have lived to return and inform me that the Vrykul have awakened in the main fortress to the west.
Be careful.
Which is a shame, because we're not doing that quest. So, these Vrykul, these are what we call the assholes. They're like, hey, what's up? Listen, I'm just saying... I can't think of something that a dick would say. You know, we're better off without running water. I don't know. I can't think of anything. I don't have the creativity right now. I'm sorry.
Many deals for a friend of the Grumbles, like you.
Yeah, what that guy said. There you go.
Farewell, friend of the Grumbles.
Okay, so the timeline of the Vrykul. These specific Vrykul are the ones... these are the stasis ones. These are the ones who have been in stasis for a while. Like a really long time. Let me double check that. Let me check my thoughts on that. But I'm pretty sure these are the super stasis ones. Yep. This was well before the War of the Ancients. This was close to 15,000 years ago. So this was after all of the nonsense happened with the old gods, with Loken, and with the Keepers. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. We'll actually cover that later in this very expansion. So after all that stuff went down, an enormous quantity of Vrykul who are left here all decided to go into stasis, especially specifically because Yimmeron, who was actually in charge at that point in time, ordered it. So they went all into stasis. They also killed a lot of their runs, but a whole lot of those runs decided to go with Tyr instead. I think that's actually it. I think these are just those specific Vrykul, the ones under Yimmeron, from 15,000 years ago. Not that I'm aware of, Darkrai. I mean, I suppose the answer is yes. The step of degeneration between Vrykul and human is the Vrykuls themselves. But yeah, to my knowledge, these are the ones who entered stasis willingly to try and avoid the problem that was cursing them. Specifically in here, actually.
Give me your souls, that I might slay the enemy!
I like how Yimmeron's just like, here, what's up? Could you not, please? Look, I have other things to do, okay? Guys, can we not? Correct, Ganos. We also have some of the Vrykul who were abandoned for 15 millennia and have been doing nothing for that entire time, which is... Look, I will never defend WoW's use of time, okay? I'm sorry. I think that's it. Okay, so we're actually done with the Howling Fjord. Yay. Well, we got a hint. We got to go north into the Grizzly Hills. If you remember, we saw a Worgen up here. And we haven't seen the Worgen since Vanilla in Duskwoods. What the hell are Worgen doing up here? So let's see what we have to say in the Grizzly Hills. Music? Hello? Hello? There it goes.
How you doing, man?
I'm not sure I could come up with another one at his level, so I'm going to go with yes. So, this is Krenna. She is a Hellscream loyalist who, surprise, has been rewarded with that loyalty by being given her own post. She's listed Conqueror, which means her job is to run a specific division and use it to conquer an area. Yeah, the Joker was the other one I was thinking of, Ross. So, I just want to give a little bit of backstory. It doesn't matter for the review. I just wanted to share really quick. So, Krenna over there and Gorgona over here, these are actually sisters. Both of them are young, relatively speaking. As in, neither of them ever saw Draenor. They were both born on Azeroth. And that's important, because these two right here are why Garrosh Hellscream gained so much power. You see, a lot of the orcs who came over carried a whole lot of guilt with them. because of the fact that they were part of the demonic horde. So a lot of them are just like, we suck and we're awful. So when Thrall said, let's go ahead and settle in Durotar, which is a blasted wasteland, which has problems getting things like food and water, most of the people went along with it. It was decided to be a form of penance. But from a long-term perspective, it created some immediate tension, because it meant that hang on, I'll actually show you the geography here really quick. So here's Durotar right here. Not a very lush land. Ignore that water. That wasn't there back in vanilla. Not a very lush land. Just south of here is an outpost here, where there's a whole bunch of human fortress. And even further south is Dustwallow Marsh, which is where Theramore is. So it's actually not that far off, the distance between those two things. It's just right there, right across the bay. Now, just so to the south, the humans were given the slightly more malleable land. And to the north, well, we've got the elves who had pretty much all of this. Yes, I know not all of this was actually perfectly settled territory, but still, this is all elven territory. Arguably this too, that's debatable. We're not going to get into that. So the Horde, they took what was left, the orcs, I should say. You notice the Taurens were excused from this. They got Mulgore. So, we live in this horrible, unpleasant place, and everyday living is a struggle. Despite all of their forces and their material and their knowledge and their skill and their magic, the orcs were living in a day-to-day, hand-to-mouth kind of environment. And they did that for years. So long that these two sisters were actually born in that environment. And both of them took a very, very different, correct, Ganas, very different approach to that. Gorgona, her reaction was, this is penance for our sins, so this is acceptable. Krenna said, I didn't do anything wrong. My parents did. Why do I have to suffer for what they did? And that is the split right there that makes so that Garrosh Hellscream manages to take power. Because a lot of people are willing to listen to him and say, maybe we should live in a place that's a little bit more prosperous, a place where we can actually get food and water and shelter and not have to live out in the baking sun all day. Is that a thing we could manage? So Krenna here is in charge. She also has 2 Blood Elven boy toys. Let me be clear, that's what they are. And I'm not casting shame, whatever strikes your fancy. But this is the problem here is it's the same problem if you've ever been, I don't know. Have you ever gone without something for a while? And then you're finally allowed to have it again and you just kind of overindulge a little bit? Like, I'll give you a really, really simple example of this. Like one time I went without candy for like a good couple of months because I was testing something. So I had no sweets whatsoever. When I finally got sweets, I just had like 3 Cadbury cream eggs like in a row. It's a very simple concept, right? Krenna and most of the Hellscream loyalists are like that. They're like, oh, now we can just take what we want. And then they did. The problem is, they never stop doing that. They never, indulge and then pull back. If you remember, one of the dominant rallying cries and battle cries of the disgusting Horde, Hellscream's Horde, is the true Horde takes what it wants. That's actually one of their rallying cries and one of the things that they keep their people around. It is no wonder Hellscream himself is actually a populist. Someone who appeals to everyday people who are just kind of sick and tired of things not being great and not having a good job and not having good food for being able to take care of their family. They want cheaper eggs, for God's sakes. So, Conqueror Krenna here is actually a perfect example and one of the best textbook examples of what a Hellscream loyalist looks like. Moving on.
What can I do for you?
The Horde is a magnificent war machine, and you are nothing but a cog. I am in charge of securing fuel for this machine. If I fail, the machine falls. Lumber or water. It's all here, and we want it. And so does the Alliance. Before we can move against the human scum, we need to solidify our control over the western region. Speak to Nazgrim about eradicating the Vrykul. And maybe, if you turn out to not be a complete failure, we'll send you on further tasks.
Be safe.
And by the way, yes, this is that Nazgrim. This is where he first started his existence within Warcraft. I'm just mentioning this because some of you are like, oh my god, but for those of you, Nazgrim's going to be a regular character in Wrath and Kata. And then he's going to show up in Pandaria. And then he's going to show up again in Legion and briefly dip his toes in Shadowlands. So we're going to be seeing a bit of Nazgrim over the years.
What do you need?
So Krenna sent you to serve me. She must have not liked you very much. But then again, what does she like? Cracking this Vrykul outpost is going to be a tough, tough job.
For the Horde.
Yeah, by the way, Gorgona, she's going to be a recurring character, too. Preparations for the war are underway in the Vrykul village of Voldarune to the southeast. Voldarune's Thane cannot field a large army, but with our forces spread thin, we are still at risk. We cannot risk giving the Thane and his men an opportunity to attack, so we must take the battle to them. If you are truly a Druid of the Horde, you will relish this chance to demonstrate our strength. Cut down the Huskarls and prove to this Dragon Flayer clan the Horde is not to be trifled with.
Strength. Be safe.
Even as the Alliance cowards attack our position, the Dragon Flayer outpost to the southeast prepares for war. The Vrykul are the strongest enemy we face here, but we must eliminate them before they can truly threaten us. Their most powerful warriors are permitted to ride half-trained proto-drakes. To control the beasts, their flame biters create powerful talismans. Slay them, and take the talismans.
May your blades never dull.
And yes, he has generic orc voice because he doesn't have a unique actor yet. He will. We'll hear him soon enough.
Greetings, man.
Let me tell you something, man. When they put you in charge of outfitting the armies of the Horde, you got through a lot of hides. Conqueror Krenna, the she-wolf running this place, she give me a tight deadline. If I don't outfit her whole regiment by week's end, she gonna have me wrestling bears in the pit. Help me out. I'll pay you top price. I've been needing hides from the greatest hunters.
Be seeing ya.
Oh yeah, and by the way, just to really emphasize, this place has a freaking battle pit. Onto the Order of Krenna that she's dug out and you know, goes down there to entertain the troops. I think we'll go with that. Trident of the what, Yura? I think Yura's lost their mind. Trident of the Spoon? Oh, no, I haven't yet.
Strength and honor. Go for
Hail, Druid! You'll find that Conquest Hold, we buy and sell what Krenna wants us to buy and sell, at the price Krenna wants us to buy and sell. All of this is stifling business. I'm hoping to make a little coin on the side and feed our grunts at the same time. Why don't you go get us some venison for our meat?
For the Horde.
Oh yeah, that's another very, very, very small detail. The Hellscream forces are really bad at economics. Now you're probably thinking, yeah, Lore, but no. What I mean by that is... Oh, by the way, notice that we no longer have the Horde banner here. We have the Hellscream banner. Just pointing that out. Anyways, the relevant point is, of course they're bad at economics. They don't need to be good at economics because they're marauders. A marauder just moves in and takes when they have a need. They don't need to worry about things like flow and supply and hoarding and storage and anything like that. If they're low on food, they find a nearby spot and they go take food from it. And if you're thinking, well, that's not sustainable, then the answer is, yeah. That's the point. Hellscream's Horde was actually always doomed. There was never going to be any possibility for success for them. If nothing else, because of the fact that they were completely doomed by virtue of the fact that they were going to be a parasitic polity. And yeah, eventually they'll either run into enough things pushing back that they're going to fall apart, which is what usually happened in real life, or they would just fall apart because they would run out of everything. At some point or another, you run out of people to take from. There is, to be clear about this, an entire boss fight dedicated to getting across this point in the Siege of Orgrimmar raid. Spoils of Pandaria, if you're wondering. Although arguably Thok also follows through on that. The funny thing is, it's perfectly understandable why they thought it would work long term. After all, they had so much success up in Northrend. They were able to defeat the greatest threat the world had ever known by being a marauding, parasitic power. Why wouldn't they keep doing that? And yeah, if you think I bash Varian for having a big ego, Garrosh is awful. Dude thinks rather highly of himself. What do you think of the brickwork of Grizzly Hills here, huh? Nice little town built out of a giant frickin' tree there. Or what used to be a giant frickin' tree. I don't even know who you're referencing, Gana, so I'm afraid I can't comment on that. Oh no, you're... God, actually, I think I do know who you're talking about. Never mind. I don't know, because I only remember her for one cutscene, and she didn't make much of an impression. They'd better not be trying to rehash Garrosh. That's my thought on that. Actually, I do know about that system, Spartan. They invented that back in Dragonflight, and yeah, it's a good system. I didn't turn the music off, it's just not playing for some reason. Yeah, this is the Grizzly Hills. Believe it or not, I think we've actually stepped it up another notch from the Howling Fjord. The river, the logs, the rolling hills. This is purple, of course, but there's actually a purple and a yellow and a green. The walkways, the big lumber-focused architecture. What is the name of this stupid... Oh, it doesn't say. Well, whatever this giant tree used to be, I forget its name, forgive me. Which, if you're paying attention, there's chunks of it everywhere. Like, there's a chunk there, and then a chunk here, and then there's another chunk over there to the right. And then there's the main bulk of the body, which fell over right here. Vlordrasil? Or Shaladrasil? Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to say, but whatever. It was one of the world trees. Obviously, it isn't anymore. There's also some good variety here, too. Obviously, it's just gorgeous, but we also have, for example, up here, we see the beginnings of Zuldrak. Over here, we see several Iron Dwarven outposts, which we'll be dealing with later, like this stuff over here, which looks Dwarven, but just a little bit off, and a little bit more metallic, which makes sense. And yeah, there's a lot... Grizzly Hills is one of those strange ones, because a lot of people don't remember it as particularly noteworthy. But a lot of story threads got started here, or were developed here. And yeah, we kept following through on some of this stuff all the way into Legion. Also where I'd settle. Give it a choice in Northrend. Not that there's a lot of choice there, but, you know, whatever. Counts for something. Yes. This is a place where you could farm rep for the insane title. Because that particular goblin company, I forget what their name was present up here. Oh... Might be the venture company? We really are just straight up ogres, aren't we? It also is funny because this Horde outpost really is just clamped down in the middle here, isn't it? Like, you can tell they just found a plot of land and just went punk and built their metal palisade around it. I want the three of you to drop me one hide. Think you can manage that? Yeah, let's do it. Well, you see, Magister, I have no idea.
Me got the good stuff, man.
Did you get those hides, Mom?
Stay
Oh,
away.
yeah, lifesaver, brother. You're interested in more work. There's more where that came from.
Be seeing ya.
Granted, she'd be wanting war kites for all the outfits. There's not going to be enough war kites for her army, though. Not now and not ever. Those wargs, they be skinny, mon. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna keep a secret, that is. East here, you got grizzly bears, fat as an ogre. Those large hides. We can use those. Hurry, brother. Krenna's not known for her patience.
You be careful, man. Blood and thunder.
Get that venison?
With
Nice job. These will feed 2 or 3 grunts each. Not bad. That's right. I'm feeding your army. So, Trihexia mentioned this in chat, but it bears repeating. The only reason that Garrosh and his forces, his loyalists, ever actually had any success whatsoever is because other people like Varrock and us covered for them. In other words, as awful as it sounds, their victory in Northrend is one of the biggest reasons why they never got better. And you might think, well, what's the alternative? And that's actually a valid question, right? That's the catch-22 here. We can't let Hailscream's forces fail because that would mean success for the Lich King and for the Scourge. At least ostensibly. Like, we didn't get involved to cover for his flailing ego. We got involved because we were fighting for our lives here. Whoop! Oh, that hurt. Yeah, exactly. We are quite literally enablers. So, go us! That's funny, by the way, because everyone points to the incident in BC for why we are responsible for Hellscream. A lot of people forget about the fact that we are also responsible for Hellscream in Wrath. So, that's cool. You know, sadly enough, yeah, Leitravol. It's kind of understandable why they didn't want the player characters to take, you know, ownership of the fact that we were in charge of and won the Northrend campaign. But in something that doesn't have to limit itself to some of the provisos that they were limiting themselves towards when it came to making WoW, yeah, no, we probably should have stepped forward and been like, hang on. We won Northrend. Not this idiot. What's funny is that went the other way on the Alliance, too. That's true. We are also directly responsible for the Wrathgate, especially if we're a vanilla player, which, technically speaking, in lore, we are. Because we helped the Forsaken begin making the Plague all the way back in vanilla, helped them again in Outland, and helped them perfect it here in Wrath.
What you looking for? Spirits.
Did you get those hides, Bon? I'm in your debt. Here, take this as payment.
You be careful.
We got a bit of a problem, Mon. Grizzly hides, they be brown. Tink. I got it, Mon. It's like this. Gray is black and white mixed up. You get me some coal and some flour. I'll grind it up and dust the hides with it. No one know the better.
Be seeing ya.
Okay. Well, part of the problem in the Alliance is that someone, Varian, got a whole lot of credit for the Northrend campaign. The difference is he didn't turn into a complete egomaniac as a result of that. Although, funnily enough, he was originally going to. The original arc was for Varian to just be a warmongering idiot, just like Garrosh, and have the two bounce off of each other. So you could see how they were setting setting it up for that. In Wrath, they just changed their minds about that.
Be seeing ya.
What are you looking for? May your blade...
Yeah, Variant's main thing in Northrend is the battle for the Undercity, which we don't even see anymore. where he denounces all orcs and states his intent to commit genocide. Then there's the thing in the Ulduar cinematic, and then there's his thing in Trial of the Crusader, and then there's this thing where Jaina is so super proud of him in Icecrown Citadel. That's it. That's the totality of it.
Loktar. Dabu.
Would mana bombs work on the Lich King? Probably not, honestly.
Stay away from the voodoo.
Hope for the best, man.
Spirits.
Alright, let's go take these to Krenna and see if he's figured anything out. Alright, sweet. So, just to be clear, in case you haven't been paying attention, I apologize, we've been talking a lot. But it's on me. Krenna has demanded a certain number of hides in order to outfit her warriors. Those hides do not exist. There is no possibility of fulfilling that order. So he comes up with an alternative solution to try and make it work.
Mogra, farewell.
Just who do you take me for? These hides smell of flour. This is a complete insult to the Horde. That spineless troll has failed me for the last time. Anthus, go break his legs. And Gorgana says, let me take care of it, sister. I've never seen you so eager to cause harm to someone. Such a pleasant development. Very well, go. You half idiot. You really did it this time. I'm gonna have to make it look like your leg's broken. Now don't move if you ever want to walk again. Yeah, by the way, can I just say hashtag relatable? This goes back to Blade Taval's question earlier. You ever been given a job that's impossible and then blamed for when you fail for it? Because that's what just happened. Yeah, bring me a unicorn. You didn't bring me a unicorn. You're fired. He also didn't fail. He got her hides. Bear hides, for that matter. But this was an insult to the Horde, and therefore, break his legs. So let's show Convoke the Spirits really quick. And that's Convoke the Spirits. Any questions? I mean, honestly, a lot of Garrosh's followers are pretty racist. Or I guess speciest, if we're getting technical about it. So it is actually entirely possible that she's just anti-troll. Nazi parallels aside, there's a reason the overwhelming majority of Hellscream's forces are orcs. Damn right. Death to the trolls! Wait a minute. You're secretly a troll. Are you one of those self-hating trolls? Be honest with me. Oh, okay. Whew, thank goodness. Got me worried there for a second. And the in-lore reason he's an orc supremacist. Not really, like there's no excuse if that's what you're asking for. He is an orc who was raised amongst orcs. on a planet that was just pretty much exclusively orcs for the overwhelming majority of his life. Remember, he's older than Thrall. He's relatively on in the years. Then he was told by just how amazing the orcs really were, multiple times by everyone around him. So, you know, kind of bled out a little bit there. Well, you know what I mean, though, Rain 36. Like, sometimes they're like, oh, when I was a young child, you know, my mother was killed by orcs, and I've hated orcs ever since, right? There's no crap like that. And yeah, he very much took the wrong lesson there. The whole point, Thrall is still an idiot, and he still deserves negative for this, but, like, the whole point there was Thrall was trying to impart upon him the fact that, despite the fact that we have done bad, we can do better. And that was a lot of what he was focusing on for the Orcish people as a whole, since the Orcs had a pretty long history of being pretty terrible. Now, I should mention the Orcs had been cool for a very long time, thousands of years, in fact. Well, closer to like 800 years, but still, that we know of. It's just that, you know, ever since Gul'dan showed up, the Orcs have not been super great. Because there's this thing called the Demonic Horde, which I call that for a frickin' reason. So Thrall's overall pitch, going all the way back to the original Warcraft 3 thing, was, we can do better than this nonsense. But yeah, Rain 36 is correct. Garrosh took that and was like, oh my god, you're right. I can be better. I can be the best. Oh no, that's funny, because he's so wonderfully hypocritical. And for the record, I do think this is well-written hypocritical. So Garrosh is totally cool with it. He has no concept of ethics or morality. But demons are bad. And the only reason demons are bad is because he had been told for his entire life that, you know, his people were screwed over by his father making a pact with demons. So, because Daddy was done dirty by the demons, demons are bad. Everything else, completely fine. And trust me, I do mean everything else.
Speak, friend. Go forth to...
You've done as I asked. We got the Dragon Flayers on the defensive, and it'll be soon time to deal with their leaders.
strength. For the
The
whole...
power of the talismans, the Drake has no choice but to obey your commands. The Thane's fate is sealed.
Go forth to...
With the flame-imbued talismans, we can finally challenge the Thane. His favorite mount is a ferocious proto-drake called Flamebringer. It is kept bound in chains in the western part of Alderaan. But with the power of the talismans, you should be able to bend it to your will.
May your blades never dull.
Yes, I will force it to commit horrible genocidal acts for the Horde. I know, right, Asmiristar? He really actually just has that little awareness. It's kind of funny, honestly. Can I just go up here and kill this guy? Hey, can I just kill you? Might not be able to. You've got a lot of health. We'll see what happens. Yes, Dragon Player. We've got you on the defensive. You should just do another Convoke the Spirits. Don't mind me. Well, what do you know? Who needs a dragon? I got this.
Magraw.
The few remaining dragon flayers dare not challenge us after your battle with the Thane. Show no mercy to our enemies. That is the way of the Horde. Are you sure?
Be safe.
While we build up Conquest Hold, I sent out Scout Vortak to make contact with the Tonga to the east. They're based in Camp Oniqua, which is in the easternmost part of the hills. Make the journey there, hear his report, and offer your assistance. Your contributions have exemplary, and I know Vrykul will be grateful for the
Straight.
assistance. Sure.
Zug zug.
If there's one thing I can get through your head, let it be this. The Alliance will be crushed in the Grizzly Hills. Oh, sorry. There's too much lumber, ore, game, and strategic territory for us to give up on in a single battlefront here. So far, we've been successful, but there's something that could tip the scales in our enemy's favor. To the east of here, as local trappers seek to join the Alliance, slaughter them before they have the chance to do. Death! Oh, God, it's so glorious. What? Sorry. What was I talking about? Oh, Jesus Christ, man, Overlord. Second Lich King walks into Outland, sees an entire road. I was like, huh. What's this? There's a journal written by the denizens of Silverbrook named Mikhail. It's written in some kind of variant of the common human tongue. Maybe we should bring it back to Conqueror Krana. Even the Lich King might have to have like a, I don't know, a water bottle. Get some electrolytes going. With that kind of a raising. That's a lot of stuff to raise. So as you probably missed that, but these people, they're turning into Worgen. What the hell are Worgen doing all the way up here? That's an interesting question, Masker Mask. There was an interview where they flat out insisted that the whole point was that the second Lich King's body is still living. But that doesn't really line up with logic, right? I mean, dude tore out his own heart. I think he qualifies as undead based on that alone. Why did the Alliance versus Horde matter? Explain it like you're 5. Okay. Bear with me, Ross, okay? Pretend I'm a cigar-chomping idiot. I mean, executive. Alright, so we need something to get the moron brain-dead, lackluster jackasses involved in our game. I've got it, boss! Why don't we make it so that there's this arbitrary faction fighting thing going on? So that there's these two sides that fight each other. Yes. But are we going to give any possible reason or justification for that whatsoever? No, not really, boss. We're just going to make it so they fight each other because that's what you're supposed to do. And players will eat it up because players love being competitive for no good reason. Yes, I know what you mean. Go Broncos. Broncos? I'll kill you! And, like, the secretary nearby heard part of that conversation, and that's where the Horde Alliance thing came from. I am barely joking, by the way. They have tried to do some stuff with the Horde and Alliance for a while, but no. Yeah, the reason there's a Horde and Alliance is because MMOs and games in general back in the day had a good faction and a bad faction. And that's just what you did. That was what game design was. So they needed to have a good faction and a bad faction. And they put approximately 5 seconds of thought into who should be on which faction. And then we're like, you know what? I could really go for some sandwiches. You want to go grab a bite to eat? Yeah, let's go. And they wandered off and then forgot they even had the meeting. And 3 weeks later, they're like, oh, crap. What were the factions we're going to do? And they see like a couple of chicken scratchings on the wall on like the whiteboard. They're like, that. Yeah, we'll just do whatever that is. We'll fix it in post. And that's how we got the Horde versus Alliance. It came out of nowhere, is directly in contradiction to Warcraft 3 and the events of Frozen Throne, is completely in contradiction to the primary theme of WoW in general, and has never not been so. And could have worked if they did it properly. And that's the thing that, as usual, pisses me off the most. As several people have pointed out, and I'll give Huthor credit on this as well, you want to have an evil faction? Make the Legion playable. Make the Scourge playable. Make the Twilight's Hammer playable. There you go. Boom. There's your evil faction. And then everyone else is on the player faction. It has been, I cannot put into words how much of an anchor around the neck of WoW this factional conflict has been, up to and including this very day.
Strength and honor.
You're back, and you're alive. And what's this nonsense about Worgen? Ugh.
Be safe. For the Horde. Farewell.
What's that you've got there?
May your blade...
Is this episode a joke? I barely have any use for books I actually do understand. In case you missed that, I just offered her a book, and her response is, I barely have use for books I actually understand. This book is written in the pig tongue the humans used. It needs to be burned immediately. Hand it to my sister and do not waste my time.
For the Horde.
I just brought you enemy intel and you want to burn it immediately? That's Hellscream right there. That's the Hellscream forces. A few hours ago, the trappers were nothing but peasants threatening to add their numbers to the Alliance. Now there's something else. Uncertainty. I don't like uncertainties. Go to the hills outside the main town and help my men crush
May
them.
your blades
Like
never dull.
bugs. I'll just keep picking random stuff here. None of this matters. I don't care about any of these talents. These are all crap.
Glory to the Horde.
Could it be? The man who wrote this journal feared for his daughter's life, so he sent them away from Silverbrook. We just captured an outcast in the outskirts of town about the same age as the eldest daughter. Listen, there's more happening here than meets the eye. We can't just burn this diary.
Go forth to
I need you to act with discretion and speed. One of Kreta's top sergeants has captured a trapper outside of Silverbrook. Now, if things turn the way they usually do, the prisoner's going to be executed before the day's over. Yeah, that's right. By the way, the Hellscream forces here have resorted to actually executing enemy prisoners. Do I need to even begin explaining why that's a stupid, terrible, and awful idea? To be clear, I'm not talking Scourge. I'm talking like anyone that isn't Horde, which in this case is specifically humans and Alliance people. So, yeah. We're gonna go rescue this lady from being executed. Christ. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, you son of a... I may die from that. I may die from that. Hang on. They stunned me in the middle of my convocation. Good news is I actually had a moon ready to go. And I got stuck looting there. Almost died from looting, too. My lust for loot almost killed me. By the way, compare and contrast this to what was happening back in the Borean Tundra. You know, hey, Alliance deserters have shown up. We're going to turn them over to the rest of the Alliance so they can get shipped home. No. Hey, an Alliance deserter showed up. Execute them! Just straight up chop their heads off. Sure. Whatever. I know, Ganos. Like I said, as far back as Warcraft 3, the Horde versus Alliance thing was outdated and stupid.
How are you?
Are you here to kill me?
See you later.
Listen, you're gonna just let me go, just like that. I don't want any trouble. These monsters killed my father and took my sister. I have other things on my mind.
Safe travels.
Well, feel free to leave then, lady. Hey, you two, stop trying to kill this lady.
But we need to kill something.
Okay, tell you what. Kill each other.
Okay, boss.
Alright, that's dealt with. Let's see. We're gonna go ahead and do one other thing over here. I do love flying through Grizzly Hills. That was probably clip-worthy, but Twitch's clips have been terrible lately, so that's whatever.
Glory to the Horde.
Not bad. You might be slightly more useful than I thought. Coming from you, that's an insult.
Dabu. Loktar. Farewell.
See if we can start the other quest chain, yeah. Krenna heard we freed one of the trappers and she's furious. Better keep your head down for a while. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Oh, hey, there's a quest chain over here.
Hey, how you doing?
You interested in the fights, huh? Yeah. Well, Krenna has outlawed pit fighting for all enlisted combatants, but you, my friend, are technically a free agent and not included in the prohibition. Nice loophole, huh? Anyway, if you're interested, I'll start you off with a measly little bear.
Keep it real.
I might actually need help with this. These are actually group quests, so we'll see how this works out. I can also probably just do it as a tank. I mean, the latter is better in like such a universally huge way that it's not even comparable. Rain 36. Past that, I'm not sure what to add to it. Okay, yeah, I cannot solo this as a Boomkin. This hurts way too much. Ooh, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember the WoW trailer, and even as far back as the original WoW trailer, my first reaction was, what? The tenuous peace between the Horde and Alliance has already fallen. And my very first thought was, what alliance? And we're dead. Also, why is it being narrated by Maiev? They never answered that, too. Remember Warcraft 2? I remember. I remember that it sucked. Yeah, I actually could use help if you don't mind. Because I kind of want to do this chain. Normally I just skip these kind of arena quests, but this one has a relevance. And no, I have not, Yura. Yeah, I'll grab Spartan too. I won't. No grabbing allowed. Spragwin isn't here. And Maiev was just like, did you know that while I was in Outland being captured and imprisoned, I decided to narrate the events of WoW Vanilla. Ugh. I just noticed in one level, I have to experience luck. We're already 66. Unfortunately, there's like, no. I don't want to suddenly lose my lair. What is this quest?
What do you need?
Ah, that's actually a quest we want to do. Go figure. I'm gonna go and switch to tank for the moment, just to be safe. I slipped on it bad like several days ago, and I've never recovered from that point. You know how that is, right? What I really need is to get an adjustment, and that's just not possible. So I do what I can to myself. Ugh. High five. Cool outfit.
Yo, have a good one.
Grab those. Grab that. Don't care. Grab that. And I think the rest don't matter. Yeah, so it's just pick up whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Over here, however, I want pulverize. Let's see. Let's get Lunar Beam. Lunar Beam looks very cool. And I know that's kind of a really dumb reason to get something, but trust me when I say it's worth it. Pull this over here. Okay.
Time is money, friend.
So you might be wondering, well, what's Lunar Beam do? Well, let me get aggro first. Bear on bear action. So Lunar Beam does this. And it just sort of kind of nukes whatever's in it for a few seconds. I think it also has a live component too. Increased mastery. Yep, it heal. It's also a really big heal while it's up. I forgot about that. So it's a live cooldown in addition to a kill cooldown. My favorite kind. That's a good question, Gnos. We'll find out when we get there. Round 1 complete. Oh, right.
What you looking for?
Round 2.
Hey, how you doing?
Not bad at all. I think you can take on a furbog? What about those extra large crazed Northrend furbogs? Good. Get your crew together. Let me head to the ring. Give these folks a show. Maybe earn some coin while we're at it. I've had a few issues with the Ice Crown quests over the years, so we'll see how it goes, I guess. Well, I'm taking damage. You know what that means? Bwong, Lunar Beam. Why wouldn't I use Lunar Beam? What do you mean it's suboptimal?
Who you be?
There's some sharp fools, man. Lots of bets against you, which is good.
Yo!
Nice to have real fighters around these parts. We've only had prisoners and caged beasts for the past few weeks. People get bored, you know. Anyhow, your next challenge is a genuine iron golem.
Have a good one.
Okay. Where are they coming in from? So that depends on if we're allowing for a technically, Ross. Because we all know technicallys make me raw. I don't like being raw. Well, there's a later episode which is pretty much better top to bottom. And it is a B'Elanna episode, except it's actually a Wharf episode that was repurposed for B'Elanna. Day of the Dead, I believe it's called. Season 5 or 6, I forget which.
Hello, man.
Yeah, I nearly skipped a beat, yeah. Thought that mount of metal was going to get you, man.
Spirits be with you,
And there's 67.
What's up?
I'm going to shoot straight with you, kid. Next contender's a murderer, literally. He was to be executed last week, but he strangled the hangman with his left hand, so the guards let me have him. Feel free to pass on this one, I wouldn't blame you.
Be good.
Oh, no, you're fine, Spartan. I don't care. I was just doing this for safety. Oh, no. Lunarith's pet. No. Poor cat. Their name was Cat. I would have made do somehow, Magister. I probably could solo this as a tank. It would just hurt. It would take longer. Like, this guy's actually hard, as you're probably noticing. 5 stacks of Sunder, and the fact that he has a stun doesn't exactly help anything. I am not surprised at all, Ross. Really.
Me got the
Fancy footwork, man. You really made quick work of that crazy orc. Odds were against you 7-1.
Stay away from.
So, last one. You must have really upset Krenna. She and Gorgana had a spat, and you're wanted in the pit immediately. There's some rumors it's a fight to the death. Be bad news for you, but great news for our business.
Keep it real.
So this is why I wanted to do the stupid arena chain. The last fight is against Conqueror Krenna. I see you've brought your pets. Good one, sister. What about your pet? Where's Zadesh? Doesn't have to end this way, you know? You went behind my back. You neglected my orders. You will pay the price. I used good judgment when you showed none. I don't want to see you lead us into ruin, Krenna. Enough talk. By the time I'm through with you, not even the wargs are going to want to go near your corpse. We'll see about that. This is actually easier than the previous fight. Probably because this is more story-focused. And the previous guy, well, he sucks. As we already mentioned. Still, it's not like this one doesn't hurt. Oh, yeah. Let's start hitting some buttons. Let's start hitting some buttons. And she's dead. Why? Why, sister? Why did it have to come to this? Well, in fairness, she was very stupid.
Greetings. Strength.
What happened today had to happen. Doesn't mean I'm happy about it. I've freed my people from a tyrant, but I've also lost a sister. I thank you for your help. I wish to be alone now.
Go with honor.
And now one of Garrosh's leaders is dead. You might think there might be some consequence for that, but actually, given the nature of how Garrosh runs his organization, it's very, if you kill someone and, you know, they acquiesce to it like it's a fair fight, then Garrosh is totally cool with that. I'm not even joking. That really is just his shtick. Yeah, we'll do that. Put that there. So now you'll notice Gorgona is the one giving orders, and the boy toys are gone. Yep. Yeah, Garrosh actually killed one of his own most loyal lackeys. Granted, that story arc is effectively apocryphal at this point, but it's still there. Okay. Let's start working towards Draktheron, shall we? Good-for-nothing wretches. They could have had it easy. We extended our hand in peace. All they had to do was give us passage through Draktheron, and we'd let them be. But no. The prideful little ice trolls decided they wanted to do it rough. Now they'll be destroyed as we pass through their precious keep to Zuldrak anyways. We've contracted a gang to deliver us captured trolls. Go talk to Samir if you want in on the action. You can find him northwest of here, due south of Zabjak. So, these guys, some of these were from Zulamon, which was a raid back in BC. Including Bud over here, who was, had some voodoo stuff done on him. And he's got a couple of screws loose, because you notice the mask he's wearing? If it's not obvious, that's a human. So he's, yeah. And yeah, these guys are in BC, Wrath, and Kata. And to my knowledge, that's where that stops. That's a lie. I think they show up as a cameo in Warlords, but after that.
Good day to you.
He rocks back and forth on his haunches, muttering something that sounds like troll speech. Yeah.
See you around.
Hate to break it to you, Mon. He ain't no troll. I only mentioned that, though, because a whole lot... Hey, it's Drakuru. I don't know who he is, but he looks cool. I mentioned this because a lot of people got here and were like, who the hell are these people? Because they were from a raid, right? So nobody... Not everyone did Zulamon.
Greetings.
Here to get into the bounty hunt action, huh?
See you around.
Old Bud's seen better days. Ever since our stay in Ghostlands, he's been useless to us. We've had to find ways to make it on our own, and today, that means selling trolls to the highest bidder. Fortunately, we've recently found a use for Bud. Something about his condition allows him to mingle with local trolls, so we taught him a little game that it's turned into a tidy profit. And go see for yourself. Talk to Bud. Use his cage when he tags a troll.
For the Alliance.
Hey, Bud.
How are you?
Let's play with the ice trolls.
Have a good one.
Okay, Mon. Tell me when we be close to Ma Troll Brudas. Yeah, sure ding, Mon. I don't know. Oldham is probably my first personal favorite thing with Bud. Me Troll Brudas be in for some real fun today, Mon. Bud, come here. Just... He. Dis gonna be some fun, Mon. I was gonna say, as a reminder, his canonical voice actor sounds like, I'm sailing! So don't think I'm overplaying that a little bit. Oh, I'm still a bear. Why am I a bear? Die, monster. Die. Bud, I need you to not die. Okay, Mon. Stop saying Mon. Okay, Mon. God damn. It's doubly funny because I'm literally playing a troll. Oh, shoot. Right. I just noticed I have a Bud's attention span. Okay, hang on. Let's do this one quest. Hey, off the deeper end. I do hope the snow isn't too bad. And I do hope you can stay warm. There we go. Alright, so now... Now we flee. No, for real. We're already halfway to 68. We can't get to 68. Well, if it makes you feel any better, Rector's Beard, and it probably doesn't, I don't think anybody in the world is more bothered by those negatives than me. But the good news is I've already thought about the specific steps that Blizzard could and even would, might, take in order to remove those negatives. For example, a quick fix of reverting back to the previous scaling equation, and poof, a whole bunch of negatives just disappear like that, right? So that'll be nice. If they actually start backporting the follower concept, that's a whole lot of negatives being thrown out the window. And it's not just negatives being thrown out the window, too, because if they do that, all of a sudden those dungeons are now in qualification for positives, too. Like, if they start backporting things properly, which they probably won't, in fairness, but if they do, that score is going to go up a lot. Not that I'm aware of, Riker's Beard. I went digging on that yesterday, because I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And I figured out why the scaling is so wonky. I've already described that. But not why they've stuck with it, why they've stuck with their guns on it.
Speak quickly. Beware
Like,
the living.
You could just fix it, guys. Just revert it to the way it was. It was fine. Yes, Ross. There's the FF4 one, the FF6 one, the Chrono Trigger one, the Mixture LTTP Super Metroid one, and I think that's it off the top of my head, but I feel like there's some others. Aw, that's actually pretty sweet, Spartan. I hope you have fun. No, okay, whatever. That's a good question. Who's tanking? There have been rumors that they're actually going to do a full-on second revamp. And they've probably been emboldened by by virtue of Classic existing. Ironically, that means that the changes I hope they'll fix, they'll probably never do, because they'll say the same thing that I've already had players tell me, just go play Classic. So they might just do a revamp and erase some of those dungeons from existence, at which point it's like, well... Now, in fairness, I'm of two minds on that. Hi, Saldir. Haven't seen you in a bit. Hope you're doing okay. Because, like... I liked the Kata revamp quite a bit. But I didn't like the fact that vanilla went away. Even as a staunch vanilla hater, the fact that they just erased vanilla was not something I was in favor of. And yeah, exactly. Like, they literally have the Suradormi concept already in existence, right? You can already see the vanilla version versus the modern version in a lot of BFA stuff, for example, or Warlords when it comes to the Blasted Lands. So, who knows? It's so hard to predict what the hell Blizzard's going to do these days.
What can I do for you?
Great work, Druid. Looks like we'll be keeping Bud around a little longer. Here's your share of the bounty. Oh, and welcome to the camp. Stick around. I'm sure we got some use for you.
Be careful.
A likelihood of a WoW 2. If there was going to be a WoW 2, it was going to be several years ago. Now they're probably locked in. Let me explain why that's not likely to happen. Oh, absolutely, Riker's Beard. Let me be very clear. I am quite happy that Classic is as successful as it is. So I could talk about the fact that they've literally talked about, and this is their words, up to patch 17. That is to say, as a reminder, the Last Titan expansion will be patch 13. But let's ignore that for a moment. The reason they're unlikely to go ahead and do a WoW 2 right now is because WoW 2 is a risk. If they decide to go ahead and make a sequel, they're gambling. They're rolling the dice. Now, frankly, I actually legitimately think that there are many ways they could do that, do it right, and make it successful, both financially and creatively. And I do. I firmly believe that the talent, capacity, and ability exists to chop off WoW, probably after the Last Titan, and then have WoW 2 continue on in whatever format they want it to. However, it is a risk, and if there is one thing that business types dislike more than anything else, it is risk. And Blizzard is now owned by Microsoft, which is currently in the middle of going through its own things, and we're currently in the middle of the AAA industry having already self-destructed and still falling over. In other words, the most gaming industry stuff in general hasn't been more risk-averse than this, ever. I know that's a weird way to construct that sentence, but you get my point. We are currently in a state where they are even less likely to take risks than they normally were. I mean, have you seen some of the AAA games over the last 2 years? That's a good way to put it. Risk aversion is at an all-time high. You have a pacemaker now. I have not but well wishes for you, Saldir. I really hope that that is a manageable thing. I don't know how else to put that. Hey, this troll wants to talk to me.
Relax.
Yeah, watch yourself, man. Vrykul shrunk more troll heads than I can remember. And even if I could remember, I couldn't count that high. Lucky for you, I'd be stuck in this cage, or I'd be adding one more to the list, but... things being what they are, maybe we be putting our differences aside for a time, eh? Vrykul know things, man. Things that'll help you in your struggle here. He cuts the palm of his hand on one of his tusks and extends his hand through the cage. What say you, man? Truce?
Stay away from the voodoo.
I'll go ahead and grab a dull carving knife. Cut myself with it.
How you doing, man?
And shake his hand.
Relax. Spirit.
Yeah, now we be connected by blood, man. A true bond we be having. You listen carefully to Vrykul, man. There be much to do.
Be seen.
First thing first, there be some preparatory work needs doing. Not telling how long they're gonna keep me here. You be needing a powerful elixir so we can keep in touch. Lucky for you, I know just the thing, and the ingredients be all close by. I need a vial from sweet little troll over there, some waterweed from the lake, and a few haze leaves. Hurry now, man, before they be hauling me away.
You be careful, man.
Me got the good stuff, man.
Get the vial.
Be good.
Oh, absolutely, off the deeper end. The risk aversion is crazy right now. So, I have explained it several times on Earth. Let me give you the super summary, okay? Last year, so when exactly the AAA industry, the gaming industry collapsed is debatable. I would say the latest you could debate it happening was last year. You could argue that it happened sooner. That is arguable. Remember when these are like slow respawns and there's only like 3 of them and there's like 50 people doing this quest, you could never get these? I remember. Anyways, so the industry the bubble has popped, for lack of a better way to put it. So many people are putting so much money into so many investments, into so many directions, that the overhead of the AAA gaming companies has gotten so high that they need such a massive influx of money to get the types of profits that they want, that it's not really feasible anymore. Yeah, it's too expensive to make games. But of course, that's a lie, right? The problem is the expense is all the extra crap that has been bubbling up and bubbling up and bubbling up around the actual industry, which has been getting smaller and smaller proportionally, right? Yeah, diminishing returns. And yeah, we've seen several examples, like Suicide Squad and Conquer, both this year, are AAA games that were like, hey, and by all accounts should have been knockout, big, expensive, financially successful works. They bombed really, really badly. And those are not the only examples. We also had Skull and Bones this year, too, if you remember. And I don't remember the full list, but there's a lot of games last year and this year which have finally started to pop. The bubble has burst, and the finances are no longer supporting it. Now, what'll happen next? Who knows? Because plenty of these gaming companies are still managing based on the profits they had. But you also have to understand, even the ones that are successful are starting to feel the pressure. Fortnite still makes tons of money, but the amount of money they need to make has to keep going up every quarter. Otherwise, they're not a successful company, and the bubble will start to burst for them, too. And they are starting to feel that. This is a problem in general. It's an economics problem. It is a problem of capitalism, to be completely blunt. Or, perhaps more slightly accurate, it's a combination of stupidity and greed, which are making this wonderful little broth that doesn't smell very good. And so, that is causing this problem. And yeah, as was pointed out, this is not just the gaming industry, it's just I happen to be able to speak very in-depth about the gaming industry because it's literally my job, so I study it on a regular basis. So yeah, the AAA industry has, past tense, imploded. The bubble has burst. Anyways, scroll up a little bit. Oh, that's hilarious, Lord Aramont. I'm sorry, but that is hilarious. And yes, I've seen the same thing, Wrecker's Beard, with regards to the Microsoft and Blizzard. I guarantee you that if nothing else, several of the Microsoft gaming heads, including Spencer himself, are very invested in turning Blizzard into one of their shining IPs, right? Shining storefronts, whatever you want to call that. So, I do have some hope for certain companies, and Blizzard happens to be one of those.
What be on your mind? Stay away from the voodoo.
You should do it, Mon. Now be time to get to work.
Be seen.
A legendary set of artifacts, lost for thousands of years, were created to make Drak'tan keep impervious. Most think they be myth, but Trokuro knows better, Mon. I nearly discovered where one be, but I got captured while interpreting hieroglyphs. You gotta summon me soul there so I can finish reading them. Use my elixir de Brazia. You have to mix it in with frozen mojo. Hate to see my brothers fall, but it would be for the greater good.
Spirits be with you, man.
No, I'm sorry, Linearth. Do you mind? Where is it? Nintendo is over there in a bubble. Nintendo is not AAA or AA or indie or anything. Nintendo's Nintendo, and that's not me being facetious. They're aliens in another dimension.
Who you be?
Ugh, ropping these trolls be making my heart ache. But not so much as me back. Apple Prigmon out, haul one of these carcasses over to Mac. If we don't burn them, they'll be walking again in no time.
Lita.
A lot of burning corpses in Northrend. Yeah, Nintendo does what Nintendo does. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Roll the dice.
What can I do for you?
Nothing better than watching the Scourge burn. Wrote a little song about it. Here goes.
See you later. See you around.
Strolled trolls roasting on an open fire.
You need something? Safe travels. Hey there.
Gotta burn the corpses before they start walking around again. Pop always said, only thing worse than having to kill a troll is having to kill a troll twice. That feels vaguely specious. Speaking of Scourge, we can't get into Troll Keep up north till we kill those trolls.
Have a good
Why are we killing trolls if we're going... Okay, whatever.
Greetings, man.
Say, while you're here, how about you help old Prigmon with a little chore? I got a friend who can make a mean stew, one like they never tasted before. There'll be a few ingredients found in these pots that they've been needed. They've been the ruins to the southwest and the camp north of here. What you say?
Be seeing ya.
Frickin' Arathi. Ugh. Hate Arathi. I spit upon them. So, what does WDYM mean? Does anyone know? Those damn trolls. You do realize I'm a troll, right? What's a troll, right? Never mind. Oh, what do you mean? Okay, so what do you mean by extra cap, which is causing the expense? Okay. All right. Nope, that's valid. That's valid. All right, so you're a company, Linearth. Congratulations. You're what's wrong with the world. Now, you want to make a product. Cool. You make a product. Done. You make profit. Yes. You make it big. Oh, crap. And now your life is over. You're screwed. You might as well just give up right now. Because there's no turning back, because now you're big. So now you have to make sure that you pay dividends, You have to make sure that you pay out for all of the people who manage your company, a lot of which is on the financial side of things. For example, you have to pay all those executive branches. You have to pay the board. You have to make sure you follow whatever the shareholders are telling you to do, which is mostly just done by a couple of individual people. You have to make sure that you're paying for all the extra studios and executives and suites and all the marketing and all the presentation. You have people who just go out there, whose only job it is to just be there and be like, hey, Blizzard, isn't Blizzard stuff cool? I mean, Lunaris stuff, isn't it cool? You have to pay those compensation packages to all those executives. Remember, those executives regularly leave your company, so you have to pay them in order to get them to join your company. That's a sign-on bonus. Then you have to pay them an exorbitant amount of money on a regular basis. Then, when they leave, you have to pay them a payout package. So that's a huge chunk of money for every single individual one of those executives who is regularly rotating in and out of your company. Also, there's something else you have to do called a buyback. I don't want to get too much down to the rabbit hole of buybacks, but all I'm going to say is that buybacks used to be illegal, and there was a good reason for that. Do I need 5 of these? Yeah, 5. That's what I thought. All of that is money that you're spending on stuff that has nothing to do with your product or your service. All of that is what we call overhead. It is money that does not directly go into the production of your income. Now, overhead is not necessarily a bad thing, but any company will tell you that too much overhead is a bad thing. Like whether it's a grocery store or whether you're a multi-million-dollar corporation, doesn't matter. Yeah, it's bloat, put simply. You want to have some money that you're effectively burning just to keep things going. You know, keep people happy, keep people loyal, pay for bonuses, stuff like that. But you notice I didn't mention things like bonuses in there, because why would you pay your employees? You could just fire them and hire a new one. Yeah, the age-old thing is that everyone dislikes bureaucracy. But the problem is bureaucracy isn't the issue. It's too much bureaucracy that's the issue. There's like a point of critical mass when bureaucracy becomes part of the problem. There's an old joke. The bureaucracy is expanding to fulfill the needs of the expanding bureaucracy. The problem is that's not a joke. When bureaucracy becomes self-sustaining, you've got bloat, you've got overhead, and that needs to be chopped. Does that make sense, then, Earth? Oh yeah, I actually forgot about the lawyers. You got to pay your lawyers, and by golly, you've got expensive lawyers. Because if you don't, you'll be taken to a ride by some other company that does have expensive lawyers. And make sure to fire your employees regularly. That way you can show that you're having growth. Later on, you'll have to hire a bunch of employees, but that's okay, because that'll show you're having growth. Honestly, yes, Gnos, unironically. One of the problems with corporate legality is that a lot of it rides on the... I don't actually know what to call it. It's a system where if the person who is the least bloodthirsty and awful is the one who ends up suffering for doing so. Everyone has to constantly be a dick about everything, because if they're not, then they will be taken for a ride by everyone else who is, right? So every company needs to have the best lawyers, and those lawyers need to be constantly doing things, not only to justify their own paycheck, but because if they don't, other companies' lawyers will try to jump on them. Yeah, first one who lays down your gun loses. Baldur's Gate 3 was a miracle. I know a lot of us like to point to it as an example of how to do a company properly, but you really have to understand, Baldur's Gate 3, let us just say Larian Studios, almost went completely bankrupt during the production of Baldur's Gate 3. Keeping in mind that's after a huge financial success, Divinity Original Sin 2. That success was enough for them to keep the doors open for several years, but they still almost fell over during that production cycle. Now, in the interest of fairness, they were a little bit too ambitious, and they probably could have held back a little bit. But at the same time, who knows if that then less ambitious game would have been as successful as Baldur's Gate 3 was. That's another thing. Being privately owned doesn't guarantee you're always going to be privately owned. Most of the big companies out there were at one point in time privately owned. And privately owned isn't necessarily better. Because if you ever heard of private equity, which is a word that's been cycling a lot of news recently, you'll know that there's a whole lot of problems with privately owned. Because privately owned can still mean owned by a holding company, for example. See you around, Luke. And that's no bueno. That doesn't work out well for anybody. Yeah, Valve got piss lucky, to be blunt. I'm glad they did. Things are cool that they did, but man. Okay, so let's go ahead and drink our Drakuru's thing. Here we go. That's not it. Where's my Drakuru thing? Oh, there it is.
What you want?
Ah, yes. You done good, Mom. I've been reading the walls just fine from here.
You be careful.
Got it, Mon. To the north on the ziggurat at Hezeb Halak be a stone head with ruby eyes. One of them be the eye of the prophets. Bring it to the brazier and drink me elixir.
Stay away from the voodoo.
Hang on a moment. You need to kill that guy before you finish reading the quest, yeah. Well, that's not really privately owned at that point. That's just, you know, a small company. Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with staying a small company. Plenty of companies do that. In fact, statistically speaking, most do. But you also have to understand that, let's say that you decide to go make a game. Cool. I hope it's a good game. So you sit down, you're like, all right, we need money to actually stop. We need initial capital. Where? Well, how do we make that initial capital? There's a few ways, but really, let's be honest, the most likely way is you're going to get a loan. A loan means debt, and a loan means having to occasionally do, I forget what they're called, but essentially financial audits to prove that you're staying on top of things, and it also allows a degree of control over whoever the line holder is on that thing. They might also decide at any point in time to just foreclose on that loan, because they can do that. That's just a basic thing, like a loan. There's other less reliable ways of getting money, or more accurately, easier ways of getting money that afford you less control of what you spend that money on. You can also churn out mobage. There are actually quite a few companies that do exactly that. The problem with the mobage path is that a lot of companies will say, I'm going to make mobage in order to be able to afford making a real game. And then they won't make a real game because someone somewhere will say in some meeting, well, hang on, why are we burning money making a real game when we can make more mobage and make even more money? And, well, we all know where that leads. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Holy crap. Oh my god. Okay. I'm just, we're gonna pop this. We're gonna pop this again. Okay. We're just gonna do this. Actually, we're gonna do this. Don't daze me. Don't daze me. No, we don't throw people out a window. We shoot them in the face. Ah! Sorry. We lived. Down here? No. God damn it. Maybe we should make a real game. Wah! I admittedly haven't checked too hard because I don't actually care that much. It wouldn't surprise me if they haven't found him yet, though. Like, in the interest of total honesty, yes, what happened is a bad thing, and yes, we probably don't want people shooting people in the streets for reasons I don't even feel like the need to go into. But I also have to admit that the amount of sympathy I have for that man and his family is actually in the negatives. It's really, really hard to feel bad for them, you know? Don't worry. I shouldn't even talk about it on camera, honestly. It's just... It's a whole thing. If you want to look it up, look up the CEO of United something in the health industry. Whatever. I can't remember the name of the company. United something. Evil jackasses who have been involved in a lawsuit because of the fact that they're doing illegal algorithms in order to prevent people from getting coverage for several years. United something. Those guys. United Healthcare, that sounds about right. Although I will say one thing, because I've gotten a question several times. Laura, if everyone knows these healthcare companies, you know, these health insurance companies, are so terrible, why does anybody actually use their insurance? And the answer is that they do not. Companies do. If you get free healthcare as one of your benefits at your company, guess where you probably get it from? That's it. That's the only commentary I wanted to make. Because I got a few actual questions about that. Well, thank God for that, Ross. That was just an insane decision right there. God, you want to talk about madness? Okay. No. There it is.
You come get
Oh, I gotta get the eye first, right. This. Don't mind me. There we go.
Greetings,
You
man.
get the eye, man.
Be seen.
Oh, this be it. It'll be even more precious than I hoped. Just be sure to bring my people hope in these dark times. No time be wasted now. Let's be seeing what the next artifact be hiding.
You be
Secrets of the ages be revealed to me. Ah, great be my destiny. You'll be lucky to know me. There, I be seeing him on. The heart of the ancients. Oh, this be too easy. You can find it nigh near a corpse of goblins east of here, up in a chamber near broken trees. Hurry on before someone else finds it.
Spirits be
Okay.
with you, man.
Well, we all know the Kirin Tor's tax policy. Actually, that's not really a joke. The Kirin Tor have a heavy tax policy to discourage people from being mages. They like to retain control over magehood. Garrosh doesn't have a tax policy. If you want something, you have to take it. That's his policy.
Hello, man. Stay away from the voodoo.
Come on, Shimmer Cap Stew. I can almost taste it already.
Spirits be
Akka's gonna drop a gold brick when he sees all these choice ingredients. All that be left is getting him to her. Okay,
Stay away from the voodoo.
I'll go ahead and take him to him. It's worth noting that Garrosh's policies also apply to you. If you want something you got, he takes it. It's gonna burn a bunch of trolls here. Unfortunately, it looks like we will not be doing what I was hoping to do tonight. So I do apologize for not managing to finish up Grizzly Hills before then.
Get out of here! Run! Get out of here! Get out of here!
Apparently dinner isn't quite ready yet.
Run!
Let's see if we can burn a few more innocent, helpless trolls. While we're here, you know. And we're dead. Holy crap. There we go. We have now met our troll burning quota. Ah, wall. Well, that's an interesting question, Ross. It probably would be very similar to how a lot of the 4X games work, you know, games that don't technically have an end. We'd review until we feel like we've covered all the content, and then we'd stop, because we're done. This unfortunate goblin must have unearthed the heart of the ancients during his excavation in the region. It's doubtless he had no clue as to its nature. He determined it must have been overlooked in the chaos sweeping through the area. Hey, Mon. Decide the profits be great. I've been using it to watch you, and I see you got the heart now. Oh, not bad. Now you just gotta bring it to my brazier at the Jarkital Passage, a short walk east of ya. You must drink me elixir at the pedestal. This time you need to mix in some desperate mojo. So we've done frozen mojo, a specific named guy's mojo, and now we have to get desperate mojo. My sister and brother-in-law tend to take turns cooking, although occasionally my niece does as well, Czar. I'm kind of the exception there. I order out for when it's my turn to take care of dinner for the night. So that way the family gets one night of carry-out in the week. Do I have any interest in reviewing Mario sports games? I used to. And then I reviewed Mario Tennis. It sucked. I'm not even joking. It was awful. I was excited. I was like, hey, oh, it sucks. Oh, I love cooking. I just don't have time for it. Cooking is for people who have money. I am not. Let's kill all these injured refugees, the helpless. Yes, they all need to die, Mon. Every one of these people needs to fall to their knees and weep before the might of, what's my name? Zeshad, right. I'm running out of moves to throw at them. Hang on, more stars. More stars. Yeah, Zadesh. Yep, we have begun the chicken side. We have realized that chickens are better than all other forms of trolls. I mean, druids. I'm barely joking. I really like where balance is at right now. Yeah, Star Fox would probably qualify. Which is funny, because then Star Fox 64 had a pretty solid budget going behind it. And lo and behold, is even better. I mean, if you're ordering, like, delivery from a restaurant, no, that's going to be way more expensive, Czar. That's not what I mean. I have actually never done a full playthrough of Star Fox 2. I'm not sure if I ever will, but I have not actually done so. How do I manage computer expenses? I don't know how to answer that question. The same way I manage every expense, I suppose? Well, once every 5 or 6 years, I upgrade my computer. I'm guessing you're one of those people who specs out of the Eclipse mechanic completely, Uthor. I actually thought about doing that myself. Hell, I'm halfway there already. None of these people are dropping Mojo. If I have to upgrade that frequently to keep up with computer games, I'm doing something wrong. And also, the good news, you may or may not have noticed this, is that the AAA industry has already collapsed, which means the need to have a top-of-the-line computer to play the top-of-the-line games with the top-of-the-line graphics has never been smaller than right now. It's more like you can spec to the point where you never really lean on Wrath or Starfire. Which, yeah. I mean, again, I barely use Wrath and Starfire as is, because I've already got so many other things to use. Granted, this is solo. It's not a raid situation, but then again, when have I ever cared about being optimal in a raid situation? Oh my god, I'm dead. Yep, no, I'm just gonna accept that. It's more like the GPU makers have already decided, and by makers I mean maker, has realized that they have a monopoly and they're just starting to overcharge for everything. This has already happened, by the way. I sort of hope NVIDIA just kind of crashes and burns, to be quite honest with you. Screw 'em. Let's see. So that's finally my 5.
How you doing, man?
Impressive, man. Fate be kind in bringing us together. Soon I'll be avenging me brothers by cleansing Drakteran, and you will be awarded Drakteran's greatest treasure.
Stay away from the voodoo.
We be close, man, very close. The Drakai tablets be all that remain to be found. Nobody be knowing how old they are, what they be saying, but with the eye and the heart, Drakuro can be reading them. They lie deep inside the crypt at Drakiljin.
You be careful, man.
I think I have a 3080? Yeah. Something like that. I don't think I want a free waifu, though. Can I have a good waifu? I sense a quest in here. Vroom, 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 vroom. Hold on. Is it right here? Oh, there it is. There's this human here called Harrison Jones.
Can I help you?
The name of the quest is dun 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 dun. Listen, kid. This is no place for you to be kidding around. I'm about to make a break for it. Stick with me. I'll get you out of here.
Have a good one.
My quest objective is to be escorted to safely by Harrison Jones. You, okay. The ceremonial chamber, where I was about to be sacrificed. Time to put an end to all of this. Yes, this is the first time Harrison Jones is in the franchise. Not the last. You're free to go, miss. Bye, Adara. We'll see her again later, too.
Greetings.
It says he's level 67. Oh, yeah, he was in Zul'Aman. I actually forgot about that. Sorry. Sorry, I forgot he was also from Zul'Aman, just like the squad from earlier. I tend to forget about that because he was like a one-and-done nothing reference in Zul'Aman. Odd. That usually does it. Just as well. I've had enough of this place. Yeah, as usual, most people didn't get these references because a lot of people didn't do Zolomon. That just keeps happening. What's this? Oh, not a snake. Listen, kid. I can handle this thing. You just watch my back. Uh-huh. I'm gonna kill the snake for you, Mr. Harrison, if that's okay. Sort of counting on them to despawn when I did that. Actually, I didn't know they did that as Maristar. That's kind of cool. Because, yeah, I thought original Shalomance and Strath were just gone. Just like original Ragefire and original Razorfen and, well, basically every dungeon of the game. Like, I'm glad we have the new versions. They are better than the old versions. But, can we keep around the old versions, please? Hey, fruit. Okay, sorry. I had to eat the sacred fruit. Don't mind me. Hey, I remember when Stratholme and Shalomance had quests that chained into each other back in vanilla? Oh yeah, and Old Dead Mines, which was inferior in every way. God damn, he aggroed him. Fine. No, you two are the only people in the world who think that Old Dead Mines is better than New Dead Mines. You are truly mad. Some say, in the depths of Cthulhu's most insane and egregious of followers, they whisper, none of us are nearly as insane as Riker's Beard and Hutho are, for they like a different thing than we like. And nothing is more insane than that. I'm not going to ask why you like the original. I can't even fathom it. I'm glad you like it. I wish it was preserved in some way that wasn't classic. That's all I got. I guess classic is better than nothing. Deader Mines. Now, my biggest memory of Vanilla Dead Mines, well, I have two. One is I was the one who used to escort people down to the actual instance portal because most people didn't know the route. The other is we also used to call it VC. Now, how many of you could explain why we used to call it VC without me having to explain? Okay, so Maverick got it immediately. Because, yeah, DM is Dire Maul. Duh. In my head, I still think of Dead Mines as VC. I mean, I have been called literally Hitler. Not recently. I was called an idiot several times today, though. Someone stated rather overtly that there was no reason to be upset about or give negatives to the game for the dungeon problem, because those dungeons exist in Classic, and so if I have any desire to go see them, I should just go play Classic.
You come get the
Good to be seeing you, Zadesh. You find your tablets?
spirits.
Oh, we're done. We have all the components we need to perform the cleansing ritual.
Be seeing.
Drakteran soon be cleansed of them foul and dead, and restored to a noble purpose. In return for your help, the keep's most valuable treasures be yours. Once you be reaching the top, you summon me. I'll perform the ritual. Alas, my summoning be coming at a cost. You must collect mojo from the survivors.
Stay away from the voodoo.
Listen, I am an idiot, it's true. And a moron. It's hard to argue. Can't argue with the truth.
How are you? Off with you. Be good.
Those in.
Watch your back.
Those in.
Be good.
More people from Zulaman, by the way. No, I don't think it was you anyways, unless it was. Yeah, I just like to make sure that I'm as banned as possible in Germany, every chance I get. And this quest.
Dabu for the Horde.
So we're doing that on Alliance, we're doing that on Alliance. That's obviously an Alliance chain as well. And that's an Alliance chain. That doesn't matter. So that leaves that. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Wreckersbeard. It so hilariously misses all of the points. I mean, even if you decide not to consider WoW Classic and WoW Retail two different games, which I totally freaking do. But again, as you say, they don't have WoW BC and WoW Wrath at the moment. They might at some point again, and then they might not again.
See you around.
And of course, there's the fact that it wouldn't help me in actually doing the content, would it? Still need the group. All I needed was a group I could get on here. But that's a whole other rabbit hole I don't want to dive down. I think we'll go ahead and pause until tomorrow. Because I know that my dinner is pretty soon to being ready. And I don't think we have enough time to do this next story arc in one go the way I'd like to. Because I kind of want to do Draktheron Keep and then the story arc that follows through on it immediately. So tomorrow morning, we'll go ahead and start with Draktheron Keep, hopefully. Hopefully we'll have some people to be able to do that. If not, that's okay. We'll make it work. And, yeah. And then we'll do the beginning of Zuldrak. See you tomorrow.